The Mahakaleshwar Mandir wasn't on any map. No one spoke about it. No records, no photographs, nothing, except for a few cryptic mentions in forgotten texts. A temple that had once stood tall in Uttarakhand's misty mountains before it was erased from history. Arjun Rathore had spent 5 years looking for it. As a historian specializing in lost architecture, he'd heard rumors. A shrine abandoned overnight. The villagers too afraid to return. No explanations. No survivors. And yet, deep in an old manuscript, he had found a clue. Coordinates. Now, standing in the remote village of Devgar, Arjun stared at the thick forest ahead. The path was overgrown, as if nature itself had tried to bury the temple. The chaiwala at the roadside stall had given him a warning. If you're looking for the mandir, turn back now. Some things should stay lost. But Arjun didn't believe in ghosts. Yet. Arjun wasn't alone. His team, Meera, a fearless journalist, Vikram, an ex-military tracker, and Raghav, a tech expert, had joined him. The plan was simple. Trek through the jungle, find the ruins, document them, and return. Except, from the moment they entered the forest, something felt wrong. The air was too still. No birds, no rustling leaves, just silence. And then, the GPS failed. We're off course, Raghav muttered, tapping his tablet. The signal just dropped. That's impossible, Vikram said. We haven't moved that far. Arjun ignored the unease creeping up his spine. Let's keep going. We're close. 2 hours later, the jungle opened up, and there it was. The Mahakaleshwar Mandir. Massive, silent, watching. The temple was intact. No ruins, no crumbling walls. It stood frozen in time, its ancient stones still polished beneath layers of moss. The massive wooden doors were slightly open, as if someone had just stepped inside. But the temple had been abandoned for 500 years, right? Meera took out her camera. This is insane. How is it in such good condition? As they stepped forward, the temperature dropped. Raghav shivered. Does anyone else feel that? Arjun pushed the doors open. The temple's interior was vast, with murals depicting gods and demons locked in battle. The stone pillars stretched to the sky, shadows dancing along their carvings. And then, a whisper, soft, indistinct, coming from the darkness ahead. Arjun, he froze. Did you hear that? He asked. No one answered, because the doors behind them had slammed shut. Vikram ran to the doors, pushing with all his strength. They're stuck. Meera's voice shook. No, they're locked. Arjun turned back toward the temple's inner sanctum. The whispering hadn't stopped. It was growing louder. And then, the torches on the walls lit up. One by one, an unseen force was waking up. The temple is alive, Raghav whispered. Suddenly, the murals changed. The gods on the walls were no longer standing. They were watching. Their stone-carved eyes followed the group. And then, from deep within the temple, something moved. A shadow, a presence, coming closer. Arjun's mind raced. This wasn't just an abandoned temple. It had never been abandoned. The stories were true. The villagers hadn't left the temple. They had been consumed by it. We need to leave, Vikram said. But the temple had other plans. A deep chanting filled the air, low, rhythmic, in a language no one recognized. The walls shifted. The passage they had entered through was gone. The temple was rearranging itself, trapping them inside. Meera grabbed Arjun's arm. There's something here with us. And then they saw it. A figure standing at the end of the corridor. Not human, not God, something else. It had been waiting, and now it smiled. The figure took a step forward, and the torches flickered violently. Arjun couldn't breathe. Its eyes weren't eyes. They were voids. Meera screamed. Vikram pulled out his knife, but the shadow didn't stop. The chanting grew louder.